at American Memorial Park in Saipan. This is Untethered, and I'm Wesley Green. Oh, Eric, are you there? Oh, we don't have Eric now. Okay, well, anyway, she'll join back in a second, I'm sure. We're here at American Memorial Park, and it just started raining, and so I walked away from the park because I was hoping there would be a shop nearby, but there is not. It is not a shop type area.
Also, I'm here, by the way.
Oh, okay, great. Were you muted?
Yes, and I was hollering at animals and children. Like, don't sound rednecky online, girl.
I'm watching my hair today. It looks like it's starting to frizz. I brought a hat just in case. I was just telling you the first day I was here, we went crazy. And I've been in Southeast Asia for 6 months, so it's strange. As soon as I came here, it was like went straight to frizz. Which places I've been have been close to 100% humidity. So I'm not sure what else there is, unless you said something about like maybe the salt air is doing it.
Yeah.
Don't really know. Also, don't see a crosswalk. People are really good about stopping here, and I feel like I should. In return, use crosswalks. Oh, there was a crosswalk here. It's just very faded. That was a nice guy. He was going to pause, but I couldn't find the crosswalk, so he went on. And now it's raining again. So I'm really worried I'm going to get very wet. I had an umbrella. I've been in places that rain all the time for a while now. But yeah. Well, anyway, let me get the gate to the park, and let me start. Oh wow, okay, yeah, that's definitely some rain. Now switch the camera before the phone gets too wet, and we're just gonna swoop this really quick. American Memorial Park. American Memorial Park. Great. Now let's see if there's some place that has an overhang. I was going to replace the umbrella, but there's just not a lot of shops here. I haven't popped into one yet. I mean, I'm hoping it's just a drizzle. It's not doom and gloom. The clouds overhead. It looks like it's going to be hours of rain, but it is enough to give us a drizzle.
It looks really pretty out there, though. It's just like a little drizzle thread. It was like the bottom might fall out, but who knows?
Well, I usually do keep the umbrella for stuff like this, outdoor stuff. But I guess it was always threatening rain in Malaysia, like every day. So I got in the habit of carrying it with me. And just a couple of days before I left, I realized I didn't have it anymore. And I probably left it at a restaurant. Well, this is not a good place to take shelter, is it? Yeah, everything's just out. And I'm not too worried unless it gets really severe downpour. It won't bother the camera. My glasses will get wet, but they already are at this point, so let's charge on. There. So do you know anything about Saipan's role in World War II?
No.
Well, I know the Japanese took the island at one point, but I'm not sure if it was there. I mean, Saipan sounds Japanese, right? Possibly. So I don't know if they were here first and it was their island, and then we took it from them in the war, or if it was part of their conquest of Asia. Which, to be honest, I know we have not been able to do a lot of good history episodes because my travel woes have taken front seat. But everywhere you go in Southeast Asia, and I imagine it's true around other parts of East Asia, there are always a ton of memorial sites and historic sites that say, this is where the Japanese controlled the city during World War II. Like, remember the tower we went to see in Johor Bahru?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was their like command post.
Well, and also when we were at the Chu Jetty, when the Japanese had taken over that area after the Chinese immigrants settled, then the Japanese took over there, and then sometime in the 40s, British came back and swoopy dooped and out go the Japanese there. But yeah, remember?
Yeah, and where was that at again?
That was at the Chu Jetty when they came into Malaysia.
In Penang.
Was that? Well, yeah, that was the Chu. Yeah, Penang.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. That's another good example. You're right. I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say virtually every country and almost every tourist destination, every major city, you will see that. We haven't been to Hong Kong on this show. I've been to Hong Kong many times, though, and I can tell you there are sites there that are where they do the same thing. They're like, this is where the Japanese did this, or this is where. I remember one at the top of the Victoria Peak, where it says this is where the defensive forces fired on the Japanese as they landed. So it'd be like an old cannon, it's called cannon setup, place where you fire a cannon from. The cannon's not there anymore, but you can see the big entrenched area. I mean, I guess it was a bunker at one time. It's just kind of open now, but it's a historic site. But it's just part of a park. Here in this American Memorial Park, a grateful nation honors and mourns its fallen sons in the World War II battles for Saipan and Tinian. That's the other second biggest island in CNMI. And the Battle of the Philippine Sea. Their supreme sacrifice and the bright morning of their lives. Far from home, contributed to the victory won and to the peace that followed in the solemn remembrance. Their names are here forever inscribed. These park grounds, a cord of honor and a flag circle flying service colors, under which they bravely fought, are dedicated in humble tribute to their lasting memory. Erected by the United States of America in 1994.
Oh, in 94?
Yeah. Kind of a late
right?
memorial.
Just only about 50 years after or so, but it's okay.
Yeah, better late than never, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, one of those is going to be the CNMI flag, right? No. Oh, I guess not. Still put that up there. The battle for Saipan and Tinian, the landing force. On the morning of June 15, 1994, under cover of air and naval bombardment by the United States Fifth Fleet, the 2nd and 4th Marine Divisions of the Amphibious Corps landed on the beaches of Saipan in the face of heavy Japanese resistance. The U.S. Army's 27th Infantry Division came ashore on D-Day +2 after 24 days and nights of close and deadly ground combat supported by air and naval action. Saipan was declared secure on July 9, 1944 by Lieutenant General Holland M. Smith, USMC. The invasion of Tinian followed. Tinian fell to the 2nd and 4th Marines on August 2nd, 1944. Operation Forager on the Northern Marianas was over. The Japanese inner defense perimeter had been penetrated for the first time. Victory and the liberation of Saipan and Tinian came at a heavy price. United States casualties totaled 18,893. Yeah, that's a lot for a battle.
Whoa. Yeah, and whoa, wait. On this 12-by-6 mile island, well, at least on Saipan, but around all those little bitty islands too. But wow.
Yeah, I mean, the fighting was here in Tinian. So that's just 2 islands.
Woo,
a very small island. Yeah, that's a lot. Wow. I guess this whole thing was erected in 94. What did I say, 94? Battle of the Philippine Sea. Turn on the lights. In immediate response to the American invasion of Saipan on June 15, 1944, the Imperial Japanese fleet raced to the Marianas to bring relief to the embattled defenders of Saipan and Tinian and Guam, and to find and destroy the American Fifth Fleet under the command of Vice Admiral Raymond A. Spruance. The fate of the American forces ashore and the outcome of the battle for the Marianas was in the balance. On June 19th and 20th, in decisive naval engagement in the waters to the west of Saipan, the Japanese fleet of carriers, battleships, and supporting combat ships was defeated. The epic battle of the Philippine Sea was the last great barrier of the Pacific War. It was over. Japanese naval air power was largely destroyed and never recovered. As the Imperial fleet withdrew toward the inland Sea of Japan, the American invasion of Saipan continued without threat of future enemy attack in the sea. So this was important.
Very.
I mean, I knew it was important because it was where we broke through. I basically gained access to the island, the actual Japanese island, not Japan. But I didn't know it was where we had destroyed the fleet, Japanese fleet, because obviously that was their main power. They were able to spread across Asia. These are the names. Second Division. I mean, I know you can't see the names, but just to let you know the number, get an idea of the number of casualties. 4th Marine Division, I guess we skipped the 3rd. Well, that's what the 4 is for. The 4 on each one. Marine Corps, 5th Amphibious, 11th Amphibious, 7th Field Depot, Marine Air Defense Detachment, 17th Anti-Aircraft, 27th Infantry, Army.
Yeah.
And the Navy. The Navy lost 505 officers in Europe. And the Air Corps, 7th Fighter Command Unit. I assume the Army Air Corps is Air Force. Because we didn't always have a separate Air Force. It used to be part of the Army. Yeah. They listed as the Air Corps there, which makes me think maybe that is what they used to call it.
What was that they used to call it, though?
The Army Air Corps.
Army Air Corps. Army Air Corps. I'm going to look it up.
All right.
I just wanted to see about it. Oh, yeah.
Well, I honestly wasn't sure how much there would be here about World War II, because I know there's a lot of sites listed, but it is a small island. It's not the biggest, it's not like Pearl Harbor, the biggest site to know about. But that's pretty important. I got to say, in my head, that is I guess what they call the weight of history. Just like that is to think about how things turned out, and it's because the U.S. won World War II. We probably wouldn't have won had the battles here not gone in our favor.
Oh, that's so true. Oh, wow. Look at this. The place is really nice. It's well kept. I mean, everything. Look at this. Oh, wow. Look, Leslie, look where you are.
Lovely. The water is beautiful. I can see down to coral. Standing on the shore looking at coral. That's pretty astounding to me. I thought you had incredibly clear water, though. And that's what you get from being this far away from, major populations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. It's just Scott. When we're doing these shows, Scott will often we'll be saying a very important historical site or something, and he'll bring in something about comic books or some science fiction or something. So I'm going to follow that trend because I cannot. I cannot resist. There's some villains in nothing specific, I guess, but there's some villains in comic books and maybe science fiction too, who want to just wipe out everybody because the world is better off without people. That's not a super common storyline, but there's a few that have that. And I gotta say, I'm kind of on their side. I don't want to wipe out everybody, but being this far away from major centers of population, you say how beautiful the world is, and the natural environment, the water's so clear and everything's so peaceful, and I'm like, they don't have it entirely wrong. I mean, I don't want to sign up. I guess that was kind of Thanos' thing. He wanted to wipe out half the people, and I'm like, look, I feel like you could up it from half. I don't want to.
He also could have been a little more choosy and just picked the jerks.
Right. He's like, exactly. He's like, I'm going to do it randomly so it's fair. I'm like, don't worry about being fair. Wipe out the asshole.
No fair in genocide. Freaking Thanos. Thank you, sir.
Thanos. Thank you.
Yo, but I love how he gets the glove though, and he doesn't even consider doing anything else because he could do literally anything. So he could actually just permanently maybe not make people be assholes. But he's like,
right, that would be.
You gotta all die. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, his concern, not to get too far on that train, but his concern was that the world is overpopulated, so I'm going to wipe out half the people. And I'm like, that's dumb because populations expand. You wipe out half the people, and they will replace in just a few years.
Why not expand the universe then? Because, I mean, you obviously have the power of God in your hand. Apparently, you can create and destroy. So, make some more freaking stuff. Make some more resources. Well,
statistics show that the best solution is to improve women's rights. That may sound.
Wait a minute.
It does. I know it does not sound related. I know. But the reason is because
arguing that to Thanos on the.
I want the Waterfall family from Futurama to make that argument to Thanos. So you know the people I'm talking about? I think that would be a good episode. Oh, look at the bird out there. See it too far away.
Oh God.
Let's do the Zoom. We're out here in nature. We're having an episode. I pressed go live, didn't I?
Oh God, did you? Oh yeah.
Yeah, it says live. Oh hey, that's me. That's not what we wanted. That's not what anyone wanted. My hair is going crazy. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. That's as soon as I can get this. Well, he was doing a whole show 2 seconds ago. Now he's like, how still can I stand? Fun game birds like to play. Well, anyway. Okay. Anyway, yeah. I mean, there is a connection. The connection is the connection is populations grow past their practical limits because women don't have the right in many parts of the world to say that they don't have children or to have an option to have children. When economies develop, and that's another thing, is develop economies. When economies develop, women get other choices, families get other choices, and people aren't totally reliant on their kids for their end life care because governments can help with it. And so as economies develop and women get more rights, population expansion goes down to replacement numbers rather than 10 births for every woman or whatever they are parts of the world. So that would actually solve the problem, not just murdering people. But I'm fully in favor of reducing the population because it's nice when you do.
I have some people in mind.
Hey, Thanos, I know you wanted to do this randomly, but I've just got a list. Just do the list and then random. But any combination you want, but make sure you get this list.
This is so pretty.
It's really pretty. I like how the gleaming gold building in the background fits in so nicely.
That is hilarious. And that really honestly could be a show. I'm just saying, like the stuff, when I looked up more stuff about that palace thing, oh my God, that was great though. I mean, not for the people involved, but I mean, it was great for me. It was interesting.
So, you mean the story was great? Yeah, I was not expecting that. I was coming up with my own scandal, and you're like, no, actually, I looked it up, and they had slaves who escaped, and then they shut the palace down.
Yeah, people died there too. And
oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, what did you say? 2 people died, and that's what started the investigation.
Yeah, and then also they, I mean, other than just that, there were other reasons that they lost, whatever. I don't know what permissions they had to be there, but yeah.
This was last night to any people viewing in the future. This was last night's episode that we talked about. This is a tree in the way now. I'll move a little bit so you can see it. And we went by this construction site. It's not a hotel yet, but you might could see it in the background. Let me try and zoom it in. It was last night's episode, so I'm going to say right now, card in the top right-hand corner. Hopefully at some point in the future, I will actually put a card in the top right-hand corner for future viewers. I've been behind on stuff since I've been doing the move. But yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell how gold it is from here, but go ahead, Eric. I was just wanting to catch people up. I'll put a card up there to let people know.
It's the Imperial Palace. That's we got to say it's the Imperial Palace, Saipan, and it's a casino. And I mean, look at that.
Yeah, and in case you're not getting a full idea of what things are like around here, these are the other luxury resorts. They are nice. We walked in; they look very nice. They're very subdued. They are not. It's not Las Vegas. Saipan is not Las Vegas, and then someone comes in and builds that. And it's comical at first when you first see it. You're like, that's crazy, but then you actually find out all the stuff that has happened and gone on, and it was pretty bad.
Right. And and also Jersey folks are gonna buy it, or that word on
right.
Yeah, a couple of Jersey guys. I say it like it's just some guys that are like hanging out, like, hey man, I want to go buy that garish palace looking thing in Saipan. Anyway, no, but like whoever rich people are. Oh, look how pretty! Whoa!
I didn't think that he was that close. He is putting on a show.
Oh my God!
Well, that's crazy. He's down alone. Pointing at the sun probably isn't helping. Yeah. Okay.
No, that right there is majestic. Okay, and you know what else?
That was pretty cool
about it. That is like gorgeous and it's peaceful, and there's nobody around.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's what got me talking about the wiping out the population of Earth. Sorry, that was a sidetrack.
Here is what gets me about doing that.
Well, at least we can't. Both came to the same place. Let's murder everyone. I mean, that's just a hobby for listeners. I'm not actively doing that. I'm not a super villain planning the demise of your species. But if I were, here's what I'd do. I was serious before. Economic development and women's rights. If anybody's worried about overpopulation, that's your two. And I don't mean like first world women's rights, although that's also a good goal. I mean, go to places on the planet where women have no rights. There are some. And economic opportunity. I mean, this is part of the park. I think we missed one of the memorial type displays. It is mostly just a park. But there was more. I mean, I think there's more yachts, honestly. Just head back that way. I'm just standing here looking at an island off the shore. I want to get down to where you guys can see it. And if you have any photo job, like you're a photographer and you have a job to find a beautiful tropical island off the coast, this is where you would come. I have to imagine there's a train of photographers that come here to get there. It looks like you can get there from here. Well, let's walk forward a bit. Just to see. I'm just to update you while we're walking. I am waiting on the lady to call for the apartment. To update viewers who didn't see last night's episode, I am moving to Saipan. Plan the hope. You know, I can't imagine there's anything wrong with this, but I do kind of feel like I'm cheating. But you know, I'm getting a permanent residence in the U.S., but I'm actually going to be working in China. At least that's the current plan. So I'm trying to get my residence here and maybe get a summer job while I wait on continually wait on visa paperwork to go through. And it's been the story all year. It's been 6 months, and I mean, I should have expected it to take longer than it did a few years ago when I got one, because you know there has been a pandemic and continues to be a pandemic. So I really should have expected it to take a long time. I guess I had this foolish hope that they would be so in need of teachers. Nobody was left. Very few that they would rush it through. But obviously that was fantasy.
They're like, there is no rushing here.
There will be no rushing.
But,
well, I feel like
it's just good that you ended up anyway, because it's gorgeous there, and it is a perfect spot to keep a place at a U.S. territory. You know what I
mean? I don't make hard, firm, long-term plans, but I got to say, the plan to maintain an apartment here until I can buy a condo seems like a given. And I think honestly, since I have lived in China or Asia for 7 years now, I know there's a lot of benefits to having a place you can get to in the U.S. Now, I guess I can carry my shoes. There shouldn't be too much need for. I'm gonna go blind because I don't have sunglasses. We are headed down the beach. I just had to come to this driftwood right here because there's something so beachy about driftwood.
I know.
My friend Robert used to call the little motels along the beach on the Atlantic coast of Florida. He would call them Driftwood Motel. He's like, "Oh, you staying at the Driftwood Inn?"
That sounds like legit.
Florida has that for sure. You could almost say that about where I'm staying now, except it's a guest house, so it's only like 10 rooms. So it's inside anyway. It may be sub Driftwood Inn, but that's actually what makes it so nice. They don't man the front desk because it's small and they have almost no stairs. Guests, that's what I would say. They have almost no guests right now, which I get. You know, most of their customers come from Asia, for sure. We're about equidistant Japan and Korea, and not much farther from China, Taiwan. A lot of residents here are from the Philippines, apparently. So anyway, they get a lot of people from Asia, and most Asian countries are still not locked down, but they're still in caution mode. So not a lot of people are wanting to travel right now, which is sensible.
Mm-hmm.
And we're so far from the U.S. I doubt much of their business comes from the U.S. Well, mainly because when we found it, it was Google Maps is written in Korean. And when I tried to look it up by the English name that you gave me, it wouldn't even show up. And looks like a nice hotel or something. Maybe this is where we were last night. It kind of looks like that design, although I guess it is, because we haven't gone all that far. I just walked out of the hotel. My hotel does happen to be just a short distance from this area. Look at this.
Oh, so are you is this Micro Beach? I was trying to see all the beaches. There should be, okay, on the pictures online, it showed this like little hut type shack thing out that way. And
Yeah.
then, but I mean, I would imagine they have a lot of those and driftwood everywhere.
And well, the driftwood changes. The driftwood is not permanent. Although this one looks like this was a big tree. Look at this thing. A natural beach changes its shape over time. Kind of like a river. That's the trunk. That's a big tree.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they tend to come from, like, it was a tree that got caught as the beach shifted. It got caught too far out, and eventually turned over because the sand won't hold up the big tree, and that's when it became driftwood. Or they've got Disney Imagineers that work here. I'm not sure which. One of the problems with artificial beaches is, and I understand that Cancun, Mexico is one of these places. Artificial beaches, they keep trying to go in and blow the beach back in like it originally was when they built the resorts. But real beaches don't work that way. That's why you got to build your resort back up off the beach and just let the beach move in and out and shift as it does. Because otherwise you have to pay huge amounts of money to truck sand in, which is what I heard they did, and then just blow it back onto the beach so that you can reestablish the beach.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a dumb thing to do as opposed to just building close to a real beach. But what do I know? They make money there. That was the whole point. It's money.
Yeah.
It's not like Mexico doesn't have real beaches. So I'm pointing way out of the ocean. Probably the beach is more what you want to look at. Look at this thing. I can see why this would be Micro Beach. There's not very much to it, but it sure is pretty.
Right. And what is the temp out there right now? It's like in the 80s, right? But like nice and with a breeze.
Well, yeah, right here. Actually, you don't even have to be right here at the water. But even farther inland, there's a nice breeze. I don't know if you can see far enough off, but there are mountains on this island. Anywhere else, there might be hills, but I'm not sure what it's like up there. I would like to go find out. Some of the apartments I looked at were
insane, but can you go swimming, or can you just go swim? I don't see any people, and like,
yeah. You want to walk out? Sure.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, I won't be swimming because I'm carrying a gimbal and not wearing bathing suits.
You just jump in.
It's very shallow. I'm looking for a waterproof gimbal. Let me tell you. Gimbal the shit out of it. Also, that doesn't have the foot hurties that are so common in the Philippines. Actually, sorry, Philippines. Otherwise, it's lovely, but I did find a lot of the places there had. It's hard to find a natural beach that doesn't have a lot of rocks and coral and shells and everything you can imagine on the ground there in the underwater. Because that's natural. That's natural stuff.
It's so pretty.
I was gonna walk back up into the park, right after we got just few minutes here, but the beach keeps going around. That is just enticing. Look, it's like, what is around this beach corner? You'll never know unless you walk over there. Is it dead fish? There's not a lot of dead fish here either. I just saw one, and I maybe say that, but then I thought every other natural beach I've been to is filled with dead fish.
Oh, people probably fish there a lot too, to where there won't be. Maybe that helps. I don't know, but I just noticed that it's encouraged.
I think it's because it's so small and so far from anything else that it's just it's a hard target for dead fish to eat. I know, but if they're just drifting through the ocean, I mean, it's kind of low on this island. How do you get the distance on this? I know the wind is blowing. You're probably getting some noise.
Yeah, well, I can hear the wind, but then sometimes there's like this crunchy, rattly sound. It sounds like we're playing Yahtzee. Oh
that
my
is
God.
The other thing.
That is gorgeous. Look at that. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, right? I'm a little afraid the camera does occasionally shut down from heat. From getting overheated. I'm not sure why it happens. We can run for hours sometimes and it doesn't. And then when we were like doing 45 minutes in the museum in Phnom Penh, and I got a message that the camera was shutting down and had to restart it. So I don't know what caused it. Being in the sun makes me a little nervous for the camera. I mean, if it does shut down, just wait a couple of seconds and I'll reboot the phone and we'll be fine. I'll go into a shade. Well, I mean, this is what I guess I should not be shocked that this is what was around the corner. More beach. Boat out there. I don't know if you can see it, but that boat looks like it's ferrying people out to the island, maybe even harder to see. Oh, no, you can see it. That's the beautiful tropical island I was coming out here to show you. That's just like, it's so tiny, I'm sure people go to it to lay on the beach, which seems goofy considering where we're at. But yeah, that's just so picturesque. I'm sure photographers come out. If I was a photographer, or if I had planned this at all, I'd be wearing a bathing suit and I would just walk straight there until I couldn't walk any farther. I'll get my shorts wet. It seems like this. Yeah, I should have put a bathing suit on this morning. I didn't realize. I mean, this may be just the kind of place where you have to wear a bathing suit all the time, just in case. All right, let's go back towards the park. That was what I wanted to show you.
God.
It's a pretty amazing scenery here. And then I turned to the oil tank. It's amazing in its own right. Get that.
Oh
yeah, it's really something.
All you just need a little boat. You know, I mean, I would. Anyway, a little boat, some equipment, just any random job. I would take any random job at the freaking hotel, though I don't care, and just stay in a little cheap apartment and then go to the beach all the freaking time.
Well, you can do that. I mean, the only thing that stops there being a lot of people doing that here is that it's so far from anywhere.
Good.
Which, of course, for some of us is the attraction. I'm somewhat afraid this channel will become popular and I will ruin all the places that I've come to see and thought were special treasures. I had to say, like we we have already run into the phenomenon of seeing an episode of Anthony Bourdain where he finds or says that he finds, a place that serves the best whatever, and he's there and gets his picture taken, and then several years later when I arrive on this show, it's the most crowded place you've ever seen, and I half the time end up not eating there because it's so crowded. Mm-hmm. Although honestly, I don't have a sixth sense for food. So the only guide I can go by is a line of locals, I should say. A line of tourists is not really helpful. That's the best marketing. But if there's a line of locals, you're going to go, oh, that looks good. Try that. If you think you're going to outsmart people by going somewhere that has no line, you'll find out why they don't have a line. As a rule. But yeah, I mean, the dream is always to find a place with no line, totally undiscovered, and the food is great. Which actually, that happens. Like I said, I don't have a sixth sense for food. I don't have much of a first sense for food. I pretty much just eat everything and go, oh, well, that's great.
That's good.
I kind of just cram everything into my mouth. I'd like to put my shoes back on. I wonder if there's a bench. Oh, why? Like there's a beanie bottle around here. Right, heading for the bench. That's the whole picnic table. Too bad it's not in the shade. The camera could cool off. Oh! All right, I'm going to change the camera so you get a wider view and put my shoes back on. One of the practical aspects of live streaming.
Mm-hmm. Oh goodness. Well, get what you wish for, I guess. There's no place to really wash your feet off here because it's not a real popular beach. Oh, well, I'll have a place to shower at the end of the day, maybe. Oh, my goodness. When is supposed to call you?
I mean, there was no wind. She's just like, I'll call you tomorrow. Okay. I asked for a time and a place to meet her, and she's like, I'll call you tomorrow. I gave her an accent, by the way.
I was like, really? Where's she from? Is she like Edith Bunker? Like, I'll
call you tomorrow about the apartment. We were texting. I mean, I'm guessing that's not her accent because she's Chinese, but
I really wish it would be.
That would be awesome. And a guest star on the show. Put an ad on Facebook for a nice Chinese lady to be my landlord who has Edith Bunker's accent. Not sure what they liked. I did contact the woman that got me the cab yesterday, though. So that's one friend. Her friend didn't seem to speak a lot of English, and she's like, "Oh, I want to practice my English with you." But the one that said that was the one whose English was really good. Which I kind of get that because as someone who would have liked to practice more Chinese, I mean, I can say 2 words of Chinese even in China, and usually I'm talking to somebody who speaks English, and they just revert to English because they're like, "Oh, you're struggling, honey."
You struggling.
They just, out of kindness, revert to English because I'm usually trying to communicate something. I'd keep going with that. continually trying to go back to a language I don't speak is not usually terribly helpful. Okay. Well, exciting trip to the beach. Okay. Now, where's this park? Do we have a park or something? I think we feel like we have to go back around the front, but I cannot have this backpack on me anymore because it's going to be soaked in sweat. I've actually soaked through the nylon to my passport.
Oh no!
That's not great to have your passport be like soaked all day. It takes some water. They're resistant. Completely waterproof. Oh, and I just having a OCD moment. I got to check to make sure. Oh, I brought my what do you call it? Sunscreen. Just for the occasion that it just happened. But I didn't think to put it on. I had lost it all this time I've been in Southeast Asia, and I had lost it in my luggage for months. I just found it yesterday. Well, this has been less park, less memorial, more park. All right, for the local people. It feeds directly into the Hyatt. If on some future episode, viewers, if you'd like to see me stop at the Hyatt and have a drink, please join the Patreon. That is what I would like to do right now. I'm telling you, there's no 7-Elevens, there's no Circle K's, there's no little shops. Yeah.
They've legit just got the grocery stores then, the little grocery stores and restaurants.
Yeah. Really, part of the reason I wanted to come here was because it was the most Asian part of the U.S., but they need to Asian it up a bit. There's no shops anywhere, no snackies. I mean, I'm pretty sure every Chinese person I've ever known is always going to or coming from eating something. That's not happening here. Something that's wrong. Well, I mean, this is the best part of the park. This is like the industrial side of the hotel. We missed something though. I saw as we walked by. Maybe we should walk this direction. Follow these tire tracks. There's a baseball field over here. How are you getting? How are you on wind? Is the wind noise still a lot?
I mean, yeah, but I can still. Nothing is more annoying than a child screaming. About the wind.
Nothing is more irritating. Especially if they keep laughing and you're like, oh Jesus, it's not even funny yet. Actually, I really think it's funny how kids will laugh at things that they don't understand. They genuinely think it's funny. I read when I was in college, I took cartography classes because I was a geography major, and there was an experiment that was done where kids were shown a map of their home, so some place they're very familiar with. And when you started telling them this is your home, this is where you live, and this is the TV, and this is the refrigerator, and that sort of thing, they almost, without fail, will just laugh hysterically because, I mean, obviously it's not their home. It's a piece of paper. You can't live in that. They don't get the map concept at some point. They were plotting it against the stages of childhood development, like when you recognize that object permanence, and when you recognize the world as a real place.
Oh, those very little kids then.
Yeah, these are very little kids, right? Just old enough to understand what you're telling them. They think it's just funny. When I think, I want to say it was like under 5 or 6 years old. I had this one 6-year-old in a class in Chunzhou years ago. He was so adorable and he was so smart. And they got that he was smart and they wanted to put him in. Am I going the wrong way again? I mean, it certainly doesn't look the right way with all these barriers up. They wanted to put him in the class of the advanced kids, and I'm like, don't do that. He's 6. He's not going to fit in well in a class with older kids. You can advance them at a certain age. You can start advancing them based on their performance, but not at 6. He still couldn't sit down in a chair, and he was so cute. But that was it. I turned out to be right. That's the moral of that story. Yet another story where I'm right.
I turned out to be right. I love those kind of stories.
I mean, he just couldn't get anything out of the class. He was still a smart kid. He just couldn't get anything out of the class. You know what I mean? It was not beneficial to him because he couldn't sit down for very long.
Right. They didn't take into account. Yes, he's smart, but there's still cognitive stages.
Right. Exactly. Right. And at a certain age, you should not. But that's always a problem teaching in China. I'm sure it will be when I go back. Is that 2 and 3-year-olds are told to sit down at a table and act like older kids for the duration of the class. And of course, not once in the history of the world has that ever happened. But it was like every class, they're like, okay, sit down, and now we're gonna have a class, and I'd stand at the front and do my thing. And about 3 minutes in, half the students were on the floor or under the table or on the table, because they don't have that kind of memory span. Like they're going to sit and pay attention like that.
Right.
But it just amuses me. I'm going to try and find out what the school wants when I get there, and I'm going to try my best to help them out because they have helped me immensely through all of this. We have a game going on this side.
Oh.
I don't know if that's too far away. It looks like we missed some sort of memorial over here. I see a red thing that's covered up by a tree. Maybe we did already see it. I can't. You want to go see the memorial first? And then we'll walk by some screaming kids?
Yes.
Whatever puts the screaming kids off farther. Well, I actually want to see the memorial that's on the other side of them, so we do have to divide. But we can maybe try and wind around if possible. I mean, I had to go around the game anyway they're playing.
Well, I mean, they're screaming where they should be screaming anyway, not inside while everybody's eating.
Well, amen to that. I'm all for kids outdoors doing their screaming.
Yeah. They can use their outside voices outside instead of hollering and being all shrill inside. Oh.
Now let's see what this thing is.
Yeah.
This memorial has been erected by the United States of America in humble tribute to its son's faith, the ultimate sacrifice for the liberation of Mariana. I guess it's the nighttime thing. There's a light up there. 1941 to 1945. It doesn't say when the memorial was erected, though. It does kind of look newish, like the other one. I wonder if this is an older version. Because this looks old.
Whoa.
Into thy hands, O Lord. This carry-on is a gift of Ambassador F. Hayden Williams to all the people of the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas Islands in memory of the devotion and valor of those young American Marine soldiers, sailors, and airmen who gave their lives in the liberation of these islands, and to the innocent Chamorros and Carolinians killed during the World War II invasion and battle for Saipan in June and July of 1944. May the sound of these ringing bells be a reminder of our debt to these honored dead, the noble cause of freedom, and the eternal hope of mankind for peace among all the nations of the world. It's really it's lifted so you can read it, but they have not used color to pull out the words. So that was a struggle. Sorry, it was so sounded like broken English, but I can barely read it. And it's understandable that it's so faded because it was put here in 1995. Which is like ancient. I found it strange that the mid 90s. Was the other one 94 or 95?
Oh, do what?
94? The other memorial?
It was it 94? It had been 94, right?
I guess. I mean,
no, it was definitely 94 because it was 44 to 94 because 50 years. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Yeah, fair enough. Well, that one was 95, so the next year. This whole park seems to have been erected less than 30 years ago. Which, better late than never, but I find it kind of weird. Of course, we were talking about the agreement that made the Marianas, or the CNMI anyway, a part of the United States. Did you say the 70s, I think?
Yeah, 78. Well, that's when they signed the agreement. Well, that's when they made the agreement. I don't know if that was okay. The 78 part is where I read about how it was understood and it would be written that only Pacific Islanders would be able to buy land.
Oh, but that wasn't an amendment. Wasn't that part of the original?
That has to be part of the original. I just didn't want to say, oh, yeah, that's definitely when they did it was 78. And then it was really just an amendment. It had to have been, they had to have made that a stipulation right when they signed it. So probably 78. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't know what you want to do at this last little memorial here, but I'm kind of going to walk towards these yachts and see if there's anything more over there.
Let's frolic. There's lots of frolicking space.
Yeah, it's very nice. Very nice. This is the kind of lawn that people are always looking for out there for their homes. Not even practical for the park, but I mean, I see why it looks nice. It's very green. Certainly appeals to the eye, but they put a lot of work into this. I think a huge amount of money to spend to maintain this thing. Can only hope the federal government is putting that bill. They do have a habit of gifting things to states that the states then have to end up paying for years. Marianas Memorial. This Marianas Memorial honors Chamorros and Carolinians who lost their lives during World War II. Their plight and sacrifices will be remembered for all time. Written in, your destiny is not yours to design. That is written in Japanese. I'm guessing Chamorro and Carolinian. Actually written. This is the language we're going to learn, right?
The Chamorro? Yeah, know, I was just about to tell you this. The U.S. Navy outlawed the use of Chamorro when they were there. A Chamorro or Chamorro, if you could call either one of them, and it's like, the RRO or ORU. But they outlawed it in like early 1900, like 1917.
Mm-hmm.
And they burned the Chamorro English dictionaries.
Wow.
Mhm.
So 1917, this was long before II. What were we doing here?
Well, I don't know, because it was just, I just started trying to learn that language over there, because they're trying to keep the language alive, because only 3,100 people speak Chamorro in the whole world. So let me see if I can find I don't know what we were doing there, just be in the US.
I mean, kind of the answer I'm trying to avoid, but I have a sneaking suspicion that might be true. Hey guys, we got nothing to do with you, but let's start burning stuff and make a rule that says you can't speak.
Okay. This is it. Sacrificed on the altar of Americanization. I'm reading this. This is from my language learning site. I love them already. American military rule on Guam in the first half of the 20th century further contributed to language loss of the Chamorro language. The U.S. Navy banned Chamorro in 1917, except for official interpreting. The Naval Administration even burned Chamorro English dictionaries. It wasn't until the mid-70s that the ban on speaking Chamorro in schools was lifted. Yeah. Oh, wow. Until then, school children...
But they weren't part of the United States. I mean, that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. How are they making rules about what to do?
You know how they were making those rules there.
I got the guns.
Yeah, we have the guns, and you just listen. So it says, until then, school children who spoke Chamorro were punished, and their parents were sometimes even fined.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty astounding. I don't know why it is. It should not be the least bit surprising, and yet still it's like, what? So I guess we had trade relations with the island.
Oh, the U.S. was actually more interested in conquering the Spanish Philippines, but it figured it needed to take Guam to secure the larger territory. So,
so this was during the Spanish American War.
Yeah, and then they wiped out almost fully wiped out an entire language, and tried to wipe out a whole culture to take over some territory there. I mean, not that this is shocking, but, And I love that they've erected these monuments and stuff about 50 years later, after they had a bit of another war over there, after they took over the territory to begin with. Let's see. Yep. Because as part of their campaign during the Spanish-American War, the United States captured Guam in a bloodless landing in 1898. So it was 1917 when the language part that I was talking about Saipan, what's happening.
So it's 1917 to 1978. So several generations of people that were not allowed to speak. Not gone. It can still come back, but an uphill climb now.
Well, they are actively trying to incorporate the Chamorro language learning into their schools there, and they're I think they had raised some money aside from getting government funding, but they had raised money, and there were teachers they were calling in. They were calling on teachers to learn or to teach it. So I mean, they're doing what they can, but also during the pandemic, a lot of that fell wayside too. And the pandemic that is still going on, by the way.
Right. Anytime you talk about it, because we can now talk about it as if it's in the past, but not that it's complete. So it becomes a little tricky, at least in English, to talk about it and say, back when that old pandemic was happening. Well, I mean, yes, it was happening in the past, but it continues to happen. So we should be using. What should we be using? I'm an English teacher.
I would say this.
Present perfect.
Yeah, I would say this instead. Like, in
this old pandemic.
Like they lost their language early, or they lost their language learning initiative again a little bit during the first couple of waves of this pandemic.
Of the ongoing pandemic. Right. I mean, I feel nothing but sympathy for. Oh, this is kind of it. I guess I thought there was more. Well, is it? No, I can't tell. I don't know if it's worth walking out. Well, it says no fishing, so that implies you can go out there and do other things. Let's give it a try. You know, something that surprised me, this is kind of out of the blue, but something that surprised me in Singapore, I think I mentioned this, was how many military there were everywhere. You got up in the morning, like head to the somewhere on the train, like commuting hours. There were so many military on the metro going to their daily duty, whatever they were doing. I guess they would be dressed, in their camo, whatever they were in. Yeah, it was surprising, but after I thought for 2 seconds, I was like, well, it kind of makes sense because Singapore is not a country where there's enough room to put the military operation over there, in some distant place, and the urban, financial center is here. I mean, it's all there together. In that respect, a place like Singapore or Hong Kong, for that matter, are more real than most cities because in a place like America, all of the undesirable land use activities are put somewhere else. So those richies in the city don't have to look at it and think about it. But in a place like Korea, read this t-shirt. In a place like Singapore, I mean, it's all got to be right there together. So every use is next to something else, which is also kind of what surprised me, but shouldn't have, when Yuri said that there were lots of manufacturers in Singapore that he wanted to contact. And I was like, are they actually manufacturing it here? And he's like, yeah. So they make a lot of stuff there. And of course, that's the way cities used to work. That is not alien to the function of a city. That used to be where the manufacturing was. But as manufacturing technologies became more common, they got moved out to the suburbs. And so that use fell away in the city. Unfortunately, it also took the people with it.
Between two trees.
We are between two trees.
God, I wish that I could be there because people would not know what to do with how we are together. But like that is just see, you got it. And I just would say just some random crap.
Right, because it was between two ferns.
Yes.
Yes. We've already done between two domes. I mean, I think it's going to be an ongoing joke. It feels like I should be between a lot of two things. We'll need to call it out each time. Whoa. Pretty.
See, I need a boat. I need a boat right there.
Someone get me a boat.
I think it's really important to note that when I looked up getting food assistance there, it also includes fishing equipment, including a freaking harpoon, but harpoon, fishing nets, tackle, fishing rods. Also, it includes gardening tools and seeds. You can actually buy all that with the food stuff. Of course, you can just go to the grocery store. I know you're not going to be like, I want to go fishing, but I think it's neat.
You are only allowed to fish is the rule. Let's get all your sustenance through fishing. I don't know if you can see how clear this water is.
It's beautiful, yes.
Yeah, everything's so beautiful here. And I gotta say, it made it even more beautiful by the lack of any tourists. don't come.
Oh,
What I meant to say. I'm not you. I'm talking to the audience. Any future viewers, I just want to reiterate how horrible this place is. You don't want to come. It's not worth it.
I think my delivery person is trying to call me. I'm going to mute 1 second because it looks like deliverance country out here to people and it scares them. Hold on one little second.
Yeah, no problem. We're going to head over. I'm going to take the audience over to this ferry. I'm going to take you over to this ferry. We are going to hop on it. No, I don't know if we want to hop on it. Honestly, I would. We'll see what it costs. Sorry, to wipe the sweat out of my eyes. Actually, just see what's going on. This is a cool little thing. We're headed out to that ferry we were looking at a few minutes ago, and I'm pretty sure when we were on the beach earlier in the show, it was that beach. There, there's another point poking out. We got fishing boats over here. This is cool. And it looks like a ferry. I just think that it is. I don't know the kid. Part of the lack of just the fact it's such a small island. There's not going to be as much here. It's like something, even in the smallest town, anywhere in Asia. There'll be something. Here, there's nothing. All right, it looks like it might be a dinner cruise thing or something. I don't know, maybe there's just regular food. I don't think there's anything stopping me from looking up there. Yeah, just a ferry. Not one running. I saw one earlier, so one of these is running. That's right. If you'd like to not hear wind noise, please join the Patreon so I can get a dead cat. I mean, if I'm being honest, I'll get the apartment first. But hopefully that'll happen today. But then apartment, then dead cat. Order that kind of looks pretty cool. Fancy cat. I just want to show you this island. This scenery here is just unbelievable. Because its sail is not up. Is that what's going on?
okay.
Oh, and it has a slide. Hey, how you doing? Did you get your delivery?
You know what would help me? I forgot to unmute the other part too. So I was like, "Hey, I'm back," and then I was like, "I can't hear anything."
This guy put it in the slide in the water. That's obviously a catamaran. If it was on it, that might be a good time. Have a car. Have a slide. Switch the camera so you can see the distance here. Really pretty place. And also, I bet you're hearing a lot of wind.
Yeah.
I was just saying, if the viewers want to help me buy a dead cat, need to get a whole new thing set up. I have a dead cat that fits with mine.
A what though? What is it?
A dead cat. You know the furry tips for the microphones.
Oh yeah.
That's the. I pretty much eliminate wind noise. It's pretty good, but the microphone that I've got will not work with audio, so I have to have a new setup, or just a dead cat that fits this microphone. Isn't it pretty?
Yeah.
WWII on Saipan. That's what that name of that boat was. All right, the wind just. Oh, I guess maybe the thing is blocking it. The thing being the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, the thing was.
No parking. Let's walk to the tip. That's the tip. I should be saying my goodbyes now. We're not going to do anything over this weekend. I'm going to cut back the number of episodes that we're doing. We have one planned next week, but I'll have to change what it is because we already went there the other night. But I'm going to cut back because, like everything else in the good old US of A, I can't afford anything. I can't afford the data here. So we're still going to do a couple of episodes every week. But
what is the data there?
So I paid $50 for 8 megabytes per month. Just for a comparison, in Singapore, which is a comparatively expensive place, I mean, in most things, I got 130 megabytes for $15. So, kind of a rip-off here. They know they've got you. Can't go anywhere else. There's no competition, so.
So what kind of phone services do they have and stuff like that?
Phone service? You mean what companies?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. All right. I'm always afraid when I'm accidentally hit the wrong button because I don't know what it's going to do. It's like it's closing the whole thing. I've got IT&E. I don't know what the other one, to be honest. There were three. There was a Japanese company. They're fairly new. One other one was everybody I talked to said IT&E. So I did. And possible I shot around. I got a little bit of deal. It took me 2 days to figure out how to get there because states, what to do. They said they were going to start a bus service next year. That's good, but if it's anything like the rest of the country, it won't last. The community bus services that go under because they'll get funded. Oh, that's the one. So who would go over? Show you. Maybe you can see them. The glass bottom tubers.
Oh, wait, what is that?
It says glass bottom tubers.
Glass bottom what though?
Tours.
Tours. Okay. Oh, I swear to God, it sounded like you said tutors.
Oh.
I was like, wait, what?
Bottom tutors. Yeah, Elizabeth, Henry, whole gang. Last bottom. Oh, anyway. Okay, I guess we can get rid of this. That was nice. It was a nice park. It was nice to show us. It would be a shame to make that mistake. All right, Erica. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you to the viewers. See you next week, next episode. If you're watching in the future, enjoy the next episode. Bye.
Jag är där, och kan man kommer då se upp som